thing in the future that is quite possible it may happen. That is water wars. You know, people fighting पानी के लिए. जैसे कि मैंने वो movie देखी हुई है Mad Max Fury Road. That whole movie premise is just that. You know, there's one water source everyone is controlling and everyone is fighting. So today it's World Water Day. And this time the theme is using water for peace. I have today with me, I would call her water warrior because she has been doing a relentless work and a lot of effective work when it comes to water conservation, and has even interacted with the Prime Minister himself. So let's say hello to Kalpana Ramesh.
Hi Sana, thank you for having me here, and I think you other guys should that should take the word across that water is finite.
Yes, yes. Only so much. You know, the hydrological cycle, the way it works is, to give a little, fact to our listeners. अभी आप जो अपनी bottle में पानी पियेंगे, the same water has been drank by a dinosaur. Maybe like billions of years ago, and of course it has gone through the water cycle इतने बार, and now it is that potable drinking water. तो water ऐसी resource है जो fixed है, right? Of course, that is one reason why we need to, conserve it and save it. But also like water shortages, especially with Bangalore, being so close to us. So what do you think is Hyderabad's current situation when it comes to the water table?
When it comes to the water table, the fact is that the same time last year, more than 1 meter water level has come down in the groundwater is the fact. The groundwater is definitely dipping. Beyond what we saw last year. This is factual information from the groundwater department of Telangana through their inspection wells. We understand this. But the municipal water supply, that is about 12 lakh connections, and we have about 450 to 500 MGD, which is million gallons liters a day, which is supplied to the city. Now, there is no shortage in it, though there is through summer you will see a slight dip in that distribution, but that also says that this 450 MGD is enough for 1.4 crore people for a day if you take a standard usage, which is 135 liters per person. But the point is, the 450 MGD, by the time it reaches you, first of all, it comes from rivers. By the time it reaches you, there's a lot of leakages and there's a lot of water losses, which is about 40%. So the 40% of this is probably the groundwater that we are going to use, and this 135 liters is just for your personal use. Then you have your gardening, then you have your industries, then there's a lot of usage in hospitals, hotels, many other purposes that we use. So let's say we are still dependent on groundwater. 45 to 50% we are still dependent on groundwater. So groundwater is something that we cannot ignore today. Because your population is going to double up in the next 30 years. Are you going to get enough river water and keep on pumping river water and getting it to cities? Are you not going to make your cities sustainable? And the groundwater dependability is still big, and we should focus on groundwater and make ourselves sustainable. Like just our home and community is sustainable today. We don't even buy common tankers throughout summers. Even this summer, we still have surplus water. So that's where we should head. I mean, that's the trend. I mean, but today's trend is going towards, getting municipal water and feeling water rich. Guys, that is not a sustainable option because that is water from the rivers. If you can improve your groundwater and call it sustainable, then that is the trend we need to take forward, and that's what will save us in future.
Groundwater is a sustainable source of water for all of us. How do we conserve it?
So to improve groundwater, the only way is rainwater that we receive. If we can tap all of rainwater sensibly, strategize and plan the kind of recharge that we do or reuse with rainwater, and rainwater comes to your doorstep. You don't fetch it from elsewhere. That is the big thing. I mean, it is free of cost. It comes to your own doorstep. And not just communities, hospitals, hotels, malls, corporate houses, industries, institutions, all of them have rooftops. All of them, and rooftops are like big large trays to hold this rainwater, and this rainwater has to be sensibly taken down. In down pipes, you do have rainwater pipes that bring it down, but sadly when it touches the ground, it's all connected systematically to drains, and
Yeah.
very small part of it is getting into harvesting systems, or sometimes no harvesting systems. Today I just got a call half an hour back from a 2,300 apartment community. Then they have zero rainwater harvesting. They have lakhs of square feet of rooftops, and it's more than 20 acres land. Just look at
Wow.
how many crores of liters of water is just going down the drain there. So this is what we need to open our eyes to, and groundwater can be conserved. If we conserve all our rainwater, we need to replenish groundwater, because we are so busy drawing and extracting water. There's hardly anyone that's putting back groundwater. So in your and my lifetime, whatever water that we use, even if you are able to put back, say, let's say 60 or 80% of that water back into the ground, you are doing a big service to the planet.
Yeah, and for the future generations. So tell me this, okay, for flats or communities, it's a bigger area, so there's bigger chances of creating rainwater harvesting pits and all that. But in India, in Hyderabad, we know some places, most places actually, very densely populated. Just like ek diwar, and then there's another no diwar, nothing else, one wall in between. And they don't even leave like an area for a little garden or something, right? Like everything is concreted. So in a place like that, of course, they have roof. So how is that possible even for them to make a pit and ensure that?
Yeah, in fact, last 2 years we have been working on these challenging spaces and the urban scenarios. So everyone has a rooftop. So does everyone have rainwater pipes that bring water down, and everyone has a sump. Right? They have water storage sumps. All you need to do is put an inline filter, which is available on Amazon or anywhere on the net. You can figure out and buy an inline filter which is fixed in the pipe that comes down that brings rainwater. So you're not using any ground space here. So water is taken down directly into your sump, and simply make an overflow for this sump and put it around a borewell that you have. I'm sure even if you have like let's say a 4 feet or a 5 feet space, you can make a 3 feet diameter cement ring pit or something for like 8 feet or 10 feet around the borewell. So you will be doing targeted recharge. Let's say that borewell is in a 2 feet space. Let's think that is the scenario. Then, but you still are putting water in your sump, and then the water comes in a very controlled manner into your borewell. So you can connect a pipe and directly let it in your casing pipe.
Better.
That is also good, even if you didn't do recharge pit.
Yeah, that's like a brilliant idea. Like, okay, you will not have a lot of space, but that little 2 feet is there. So, even that 2 feet makes so much of a difference.
2 feet, and also you have the borewell shaft itself,
Yeah,
the casing
it's
pipe, and
recharging.
you can just put a pipe into that casing pipe, and you can still recharge, because you're not letting down huge amount of water gush through that casing pipe. You're doing it in a controlled manner. You're first putting it into your sump, before which it is filtered, and then excess water goes into your borewell.
सो ऑफ कोर्स इंडिविजुअली आप ऐसे कर सकते हैं रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग पे थोड़ी सी भी जगह हो तो बना सकते हैं अपनी बोरवेल के पाइप के अंदर आप डाल सकते हैं सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स कैन बी डन एंड अनदर थिंग वी वर डिस्कसिंग इज about community parks, so apart from your house you have access to your community park, so how are the ways that we can use to recharge around those areas?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because most parks, if you see, are in the low-lying areas. So it brings a collection of the storm runoff, which is the rainwater runoff, does reach the parks in a certain way. If we can create interventions like rainwater harvesting pits and silt traps, because it does get a lot of silt from the road. So if you create these silt traps and then understand, if it's a rocky site, we can do injection bore wells, and because site specific interventions has to be understood and made. But collectively as a community in your neighborhood parks, if you take up rainwater harvesting, it will be a great resource and an asset for the entire community. While you do individually rainwater harvesting, you're also doing a collective effort in these green areas. The greenery will improve in a big way because soil moisture will go up. It will also increase the micro climate, as in it will get more cooler as you bump in a lot of water into the ground. And also the water security of that place. A lot of water otherwise floods these parks, and the overflow simply lands in the drains, which is of no use for anybody.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. So, just get a rough idea, like an average idea. Suppose किसी का ghar is like over say 500 square feet area, like that kind of an area. How much investment do you think someone will need for making rainwater harvesting pits and something like that?
Like I said, for 1,000 square feet area, 500 square feet is even smaller, but for 1,000 square feet area, up to 1 lakh liters of rainwater can be saved.
Wow.
Throughout the season, which is 45 to 50 days of rainfall that Hyderabad receives. So, like I said, the rainwater pipes are already there. You connect the filters, which cost anywhere. There is a range from 4,000 to 8,000 rupees, so you can pick any filter you want.
It's not too expensive.
And then the rainwater pipe can be connected to your sump, so a little bit of plumbing is required. The sump is already there as a resource, and then the overflow from the pump can go around a borewell. If you do not have a borewell, just a pit. Now a cementing pit, which is about 10 feet deep and 4 feet wide, will cost you anywhere from 20,000 to 24,000, depending on if you hit rock and if you have to open that up and such. But typically under 25,000, you will be able to get a filter, you will be able to do a pit. And also plumbing is varying because you might have the sump right there, or you might have the sump in another diagonally opposite corner of the site. So the plumbing is a little varying thing here, but otherwise a filter and you have the rooftop, you have the sump, and you have the borewell already. All you need is a pit and a filter and a connecting mechanism.
Less than 50,000.
Yeah, easily, yeah.
That is
very doable,
interesting.
considering the fact that how much we spend on a house while construction or doing interiors. This is a very small cost, but this one-time thing, what you do as an intervention, will handhold you for years. So that is something you have to look at, and your return on investment will not even be like, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes in a couple of years you will get back all that money. I mean, if you're looking at everything in a ROI model, even that works.
So this is, I think, one aspect of it, right? Like using the excessive rainwater to recharge. Now, another thing which happens here is reusing the water. Go about with that.
Reusing water is basically, you have something called, when you consider wastewater, there are two types of water. There's grey water and there is black water. Black water is what comes out of your commode. So you have the fecal waste and that is absolutely, that takes a lot more resources to recycle it. But the grey recycled water, which is mostly about 80% of your wastewater, this can be easily recycled. Now this is water from your washing machine, your RO waste, your bath showers, your sinks, your kitchen sinks, and all the water that you wash off, your car wash, or you wash your floors and things like this. Or these kind of water can be easily recycled, and there are 100 companies that do these days. For a small apartment, it can cost you anywhere from 1.5 lakh to 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakh, depending on the type, model, the one that doesn't take too much space, and how it can be. And if you have a lot of space, you can actually go with green methods where you have multiple gravel and weathered rock beds, where you have these canna plants. The roots actually treat the grey water, and you can treat it like it flows from one bed to the other, and then finally the output is there for you to use it for plantation and stuff. So very easily, this 80% of used water can be recycled and reused for your plantation, because 30% of our fresh water goes into our greenery, and the washing the car, washing the floors, this has become an it's some people have internalized it that they can't live without it. For all such people, you should also be conscious that you recycle that much water. How
Yeah.
much water you throw, that much water should be recycled. And also, recycled water is available for you 365 days a year. A small house, 500 liters, for the entire house of 4 every day, you can save easily 150 to 200 liters, which can be recycled.
Wow.
Now, 200 liters can go back to your plantation and multiple uses. So, when you recycle, there's so much value and water that is conserved. Otherwise, like I said, fresh water from river, now it's river water. So if you actually look at your carbon footprint, which people talk a lot these days, look at the carbon footprint of getting water from 200 kilometers away to your house, and how you use it, and how you throw back, and how you're not conscious about the carbon footprint. Instead, if you reuse, you're actually sort of balancing that carbon footprint in a certain way. And if you're getting rainwater and reusing rainwater and recharging and also recycling water. So for a first time as a designer in 2010, when I did my own sustainable home, I understood how many types of water that is. I mean, for after 22 years of design practice, I started understanding what is water in my own house. You have groundwater, you have grey water, you have tanker water, you have rainwater, then you have groundwater, then you have the bubble water that you buy. So how much of each of this water does a family need? If you start calculating, put down the numbers and see how much can be recycled, how much can be reused, how much can be conserved into your ground. So it's just mind-boggling numbers. I mean, we often don't even think about this, and
Yeah, we take it for granted. Yeah,
we're
it's just
only
like
a tap and tanker. I mean, there's water in the tap, and if there's no water in the tap, you call for a tanker. You literally live around this.
what is the best month to do it? Because Kalpana was sharing how people call when it's raining, bhai बारिश हो रही है, आओ water harvesting करो. No, not gonna happen. Planning करनी पड़ती है.
And even now, when they suddenly hear about Bangalore and they're, like, let's look at, I mean, I get like calls every 10 minutes when some community wants to, but I'm just saying the whole year is available to us, and we have to be rain ready way before the rains happen, and make sure that rains is going to help you in the next season.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to be ready way before, and I think throughout the year is good for rainwater harvesting, and a good time definitely is when you construct the house. Plan your rainwater harvesting, plan your recycled methods. All of this can be planned when you're actually constructing the house, because then you will have number of options. But when it's all concreted and done, you still can do rainwater harvesting in a certain way, but your 20-30 part of the rainwater might probably not have any option at all, because you have concreted end to end. There is no Mother Earth.
Yeah.
So where do you recharge becomes a question, or where do you take this bore rigging machine? I mean, is there a place even for the equipment to go in the community? So all this is a question mark. So largely, I think when it is done by builders and responsibly handed over to communities, I think that's a big win. So we are trying to work with a lot of builders as well these days.
Yeah, that's nice. So when you're buying a house, please check कर लीजिए कि अगर आपकी community में rain water harvesting है, rain water recharge है. मतलब चलिए recycle तो matter of thing of dreams, but at least that is the most basic thing, how it's going to happen. So Kalpana, people love points and pointers. So 5 things people should do to ensure water safety for the whole city, not just themselves, whole city. What are the 5 things people should do?
First thing I would say, whatever water you get, conserve it. Try to use lesser water in your showers. Try to train your maids to use lesser water for utensils, and lesser garden water for gardens, if you can do drip irrigation and stuff. and if you can actually make sure the community harvests rainwater, or your own individual home harvests rainwater. And then, of course, another point is to look at recycling methods. You can not just harvest rainwater, in the sense you can reuse rainwater and also recharge your groundwater. In the same way, the recycled water, the treated water, can also be, if it's a very good quality treated water, you can actually put them in soak pits and also influence your groundwater recharge can improve. And I feel that instead of just being looking at the entire city and the problem in a huge scale, look at it in a broken down in smaller bits and parts where each one of us can make an effort. So not just your individual home, but wherever you work, let's say your workplace or a hospital or a hotel, just see what are the methods that you can conserve water. And many of them use water bottles and drink half the bottle and then throw the other half.
Oh my God,
And
I hate that. Yeah.
that like happens every other time. Every time like I see something like that, I open the bottle and sort of give it to a plant. This is a very small exercise that you can do, and you can actually carry your bottles. The amount of microplastics in our bodies today is just mind boggling. So always carry your bottle. That also gives you a consciousness that your body needs water, and water is precious, right? Every day you fill that water. That also is a conscious effort. And also the number of times you use your washing machine, please make note of this, because the number of times you change your clothes in a day, and how much of water goes into the washing machine to sort of wash your clothes, also make that a conscious thing. How many times you use your washing machine, because huge amount of water wastage happens there. So I think recycling, recharge, reuse in our own homes and wherever in our workplaces, and also a little bit around your street maybe, or your neighborhood park. If you can work together with a smaller group of people and understand how to do rainwater harvesting there, and tap clean water before it reaches and mixes with sewage, which is not ethical recharge, if you can do in a decentralized manner. So I think collectively we have destroyed in a certain way. So collective actions can actually bring a lot of impact in 1.4 crore population. Even if 50 lakh or 60 lakh people decide to do something, you can see what a big impact we'll be creating for our city.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely, and well said. And also, I'd like to add, like, if you do not want your grandchildren or great grandchildren to curse your generation and be like, oh my God, those people who lived around that time, what they did to Earth, little changes, not like a huge change, but little changes we all need to make and start. And very effectively, you've put it, conserve, then recycle, reuse. This is the most important thing.